How's my audio right now?
It's good. We're good. We are fucking going.
Okay.
After much trials, tribulations, we are fucking going.
And the cameras aren't going to show that we're both in our like underwear or Donald Duck in it for this interview, right?
Oh, they 100% are.
Oh, shit. I should put my cock away.
Why? Finish up. Finish up quick. Bonus content for the Patreon.
I don't get a cut of that Patreon though, man.
I know. You're here for publicity.
Am I though?
I mean,
or am I here for the beer?
Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah. How long do you think these foam bricks behind us are going to last?
Oh, yeah. So let's just tell the audience about that before they fall off the wall again. In my attempt to ever improve this fucking podcast, I bought some fucking sound dampening foam for the fucking studio living room situation. I bought the adhesive that was recommended to come with it. That adhesive sticks to the wall like a goddamn champ. The foam does not stick to it.
Should we take a drink every time one falls off?
We'll be dead. We will die. I mean, if you want to die on this podcast, I'm down. It'll be good for ratings.
Yeah, that would be good for ratings. Go viral. Just dumbass drops dead.
The problem is, who am I going to get to edit it if I die?
Yeah. Okay. It's a bad idea. So listeners. That's viewers, listeners. What is this? This is
listeners. They're primarily listeners.
Okay. So listeners can take a shot well, no, they wouldn't know the cue. It would probably just be you huffing. So every time Matt goes, that's your cue to take a shot. It's a good game.
It's a horrible game.
If you're not drinking while listening to this, I feel bad for you though.
I do too.
I feel like it's important, yeah.
Oh, I'm getting this fucking set up today. We need fucking alcohol.
Yep.
Oh, you don't understand, people, how fucking angry I've been in the last like 20 minutes.
You sip whiskey like you're drinking coffee. That was like a refreshing kind of like sip. That wasn't like a whiskey sip. That was like a early alcoholism.
Early? I'm glad we're saying it's early.
There's one. Take a drink.
Motherfucker. So with the headphones on, I don't hear them just like off the wall. The ones that are in my sight line are staying put for the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even know if they're improving audio quality because I am still being picked up on your mic.
I know nothing about these things.
I do, and I wish I didn't.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Most people I know that record them from like their mobile phone and just kind of edit it on their computer later. And it sounds like shit, but it works.
Oh no, I'll make it work. I will make it work. It just fucking angry.
Take a drink every time he huffs.
Fucking angry.
The And Now We Drink drinking game.
How to try to kill your audience during one podcast.
I also love that you've got in this like home studio setup, you've got, when you walk in the door, there's like a liquor cabinet. Then you walk down the hall, there's the bathroom, and then just past the bathroom, there's like a Hitachi wand. It's just like you're like full service. Literally. Like just, yeah. I love it.
I'm not vibrating your butthole.
I didn't ask you to.
It seemed implied. Not doing it.
I'll let the listeners decide.
This isn't a live show.
It should be, though.
No, it really shouldn't be.
We should be taking callers.
What is this, the morning zoo? Hey, welcome to it. Now We Drink with Matt Slayer and Michael Kazepis and our next caller, Bob from Cleveland. What's going on, Bob? Do you think I should vibrate Michael's asshole?
And then Bob gets on like that serial killer on the Howard Stern show, and he's like, I just killed like 3 women, and like just, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's who you would get.
Motherfucker.
That's 3 drinks. 4 drinks? All right. The foam is just falling off the wall.
And I think that's all in your angle, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can see it. Yeah. Yep. I'm going to run out of beer. Okay.
Giant fuck you to the foam man. To 3M. It's a giant fuck you to 3M. Like, why is your adhesive not adhering to the goddamn foam?
Yeah. Wish I had answers for you, man. Gosh. I actually have vibrator as a note because I wanted to bring that up.
Well, you brought it up.
Yeah, no, that's good. Hold on. Shit.
I love that the guest has notes. I have no fucking notes.
Yeah, I have a really bad. I'm unable to actually retain information, so I have to like write it all down so I can go, oh yeah, that thing. Yeah.
Makes sense.
I think it's like an ADHD thing, but
I mean, I got that too.
yeah, but you just wing it. It's great.
Practice.
My last interview on here just like veered quickly because I was sleep deprived. I just come in from a plane and I was like a little bit anxious or whatever, and we just
Because that was the first time we had met in person.
was it the first time?
Uh-huh.
And we were right into an interview.
Uh-huh.
Did that just catch my burp, by the way?
Uh-huh.
Okay, cool. Nice. Yeah,
Whiskey and dim sum.
that's right. Yeah, because I knew you because you'd interviewed like Michael Seidlinger.
And Robert Dean set it up. And
Yeah, Robert Dean. And yeah. And now I think I talk to you as much or more than either of them.
I'm more entertaining than either one of them.
I'm not going to comment on that. I'm not picking favorites.
You actions speak louder than words.
Robert Dean's out there like, you son of a bitch.
No, he's too busy to realize it.
Yeah, he's pretty busy.
Robert's just like, oh cool. This episode was on. Cool.
He doesn't seem convincing. Yeah.
My Robert Dean impression doesn't seem convincing that Robert Dean's convinced.
Exactly. Yeah, so let's see what's happened since I was last on here. I started designing books. The COVID
Yeah, COVID happened.
because we did 2019, right? So
Yeah, COVID wasn't even a thing that we
there
knew
was like
wasn't.
a massive economic crisis happened.
I'm assuming that
ongoing.
you got laid in Greece. I'm hoping.
I don't kiss and tell.
That's not kissing. That's fucking.
I have no answers for you at this time.
I'm not asking for who you fucked. I'm not like asking for her address, his or her address. I'm not judging.
It's funny. I come on like podcasts and stuff, and I have a social media presence, and I put myself out there a lot. But I like my private life. It's like very Glomar. Like I'm like I can neither confirm nor deny anything that goes on in my life, and I kind of like that.
You've had sex before, though, right?
I can neither deny nor confirm.
Oh my god, the bio's gonna say incel publisher.
So be it.
Done.
So be it.
I will put it out in the fucking bio.
And it's funny. I just alienated like all your listeners. They're like, he's not going to talk about anything sexual. Like, I'm out.
Well, then you're gonna have to make it up in drugs and rock and roll.
This is like when Playboy was like, yeah, we're not going to do nude pictures anymore, and everybody's like, what the fuck?
I mean, that's like that is as good of a business decision as OnlyFans being like, yeah, we're getting rid of pornography.
Which they backtracked to like,
Oh, yeah, somebody woke up from their coke binge and went, whoa, what are we doing here?
I'm trying to understand the logic behind that. Was somebody? I assume they have some. I don't know what their company structure is, but I assume they have some kind of board where they make decisions together and go, you know what? And somebody pitched that, and they were like, yeah, sounds great. Let's alienate all of our subscribers, like everybody. Nobody fucking does OnlyFans for not.
I mean, people do. They don't generate much revenue.
Those people are serial killers.
No, there are definitely some like Instagram models that are making that extra money.
Okay. Yeah.
That is definitely
I know that some photographers use it as well because they have like archives of naked people and whatever. But what do you see on OnlyFans? What's on OnlyFans besides like
they wanted to be Patreon? I mean, the site was launched to want to be Patreon.
But Patreon allows nude naked shit.
Does not allow pornography though.
Oh, that was the
big.
Gotcha. So you could do nudes and stuff. You just
as long as it's artistic and table. You cannot have an erect penis on Patreon.
You can't do this on screen.
You know this is an audio format primarily, right?
Yeah, I was doing the finger through the whole fingers thing. I don't know what.
Michael was showing us how he thinks sex works.
Yeah, that's how it works, right? It just go bloop once, and you.
I have a vision of you in a club, like, hey girl, we want to fuck, and then she's like getting naked, and you just like grab her hand,
yeah. Well,
and then you just put like this and you just fucking finger bang her hole, and you're just like, she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, sex.
I feel like I should be an incel character right now, and I'm just like, I heard sex is like when you're putting one of those Chips Ahoy cookies in a glass of milk and you hold it too long and it just dissolves in your hand. That's how it works, right?
Yeah.
You just
dissolve the cookie.
Dissolve the cookie, and then you have a baby. The cookie crumbs become a baby. Is that right?
Yeah, that's why my kid's name is Chewy. Oh, but I'm pump.
I thought that's because you ate your kid.
Well, yeah, obviously he's a delicious cookie. Why would I not eat the delicious cookie? You can't let it go to waste.
How do we go from OnlyFans to cannibalism that quickly?
How did we not?
Is there a term for cannibalizing your own family like there is for having sex with your own family?
I don't know. That's an amazing question that we're going to find out an answer to right now.
I think that's an important question that your listeners would want to know the answer to.
We're going to find out.
Yeah. There's probably a German word for it that's like 60 syllables.
Finale cannibalism. I'm probably mispronouncing that.
What?
F-I-L-I.
That is a thing.
A-L cannibalism.
Wait.
Familial? Well, there's no M.
Familial.
There's no M. F-I-L-I-A-L. It's going. Filial cannibalism. Or endocannibalism.
Interesting.
Is the practice of cannibalism in one own locality or community.
Huh.
So there's various tiers.
Like a Patreon.
I mean, I wasn't going to plug the Patreon on cannibalism, but all right.
Is that what you're offering for
top tier? Yeah, I will eat you.
Tier.
Top tier, I will come to your house and eat you.
Give me $1,000 and I will fly to your house and eat you.
Oh no, it's $1,000 plus you're paying expenses.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, hey, I got to fly to fucking,
Yeah. You don't
Thailand.
What is the ticket's like $1,400 or something?
Right. I'm not doing it at a loss. That's dumb.
But also because of the legal ramifications, I feel like there should be some catering and first class kind of shit going on with that.
Yeah, and you need a good palate cleanser before the cannibalism.
Yeah.
Like, can I get a gelato or a sorbet? A sorbet is a good palate cleanser.
Yeah, it's one of those tiers that nobody wants. I remember I put together a reading event once, and we put up a cocktail menu because I think reading events are fucking boring, so people have to drink to get through them. And offering free drinks gets people to actually show up because reading events, again, are boring. And we had this like cocktail menu, and everything was free except for like we had these Jaeger shots, and I was just like, I hate Jaeger, but I just wanted to put it on there, and I charged $100 for them because I don't know. There's not really an anecdote there. It's just
and nobody bought them.
Yeah, it was just a gimmick to just be like everything's free, but Jaeger shots are $100.
And that didn't work out so well, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I don't know where the Jaeger bottles are now.
At the bottom of a landfill.
I think I left them in the freezer of my last place I lived in.
Here in LA?
Yeah. Before I moved.
That's why they kicked you out.
Yeah, right. Did they kick me out?
I don't know. Did they?
I'm not going to get into that out of...
3 more drinks.
Fuck. The foam is falling everywhere. No, I realized I don't really like what LA does to people that were in my sphere at various points. You, I know after the fact. So if you've changed, I have no idea, and I can take you as is.
You're like, oh, if he was better than this, I missed out.
But this place straight up like Mad Maxes people's brains, I feel like. Because you have to survive. It's very populous and aggressive. And I don't want to use the term cutthroat, but kind of, I guess. Like even just going to the grocery store is like a lot. So
y'all soft in Portland.
Yeah, we are. I like it.
I don't think LA is that hard of a town.
Well, see, I'm not hard enough for LA, but I'm harder than everyone in Portland, and I kind of like that I'm the one that's like honking at people and flipping them off, and nobody does it back.
You're like, I'm the one who fucking knocks in Portland.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the one who knocks in Portland, but in LA, I don't leave my house because it's a scary world out there.
Like, I seriously got a citizen alert a week ago for a dude with a machete exposing himself.
Wait, like one-handed exposing himself?
I don't know. That was just the alert that popped up on my phone.
Okay. I'll allow that.
Report of man with machete exposing himself.
It's funny. I remember I was like having dinner with my former roommates, and we were hearing like we're just in East Hollywood or whatever down the street. You know, you've been there. And there's just like gunshots going off, and they're like, oh God, I don't feel safe and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, no, that's the safest point to be on that street is after a gunshot's gone off, because nobody's sticking around for that shit. Like, everybody's gone. The only person who's going to still be there is the person that got shot, probably.
Yeah, it's not a good day for them. Not really safe for them.
But like, I can walk to the store right now. There's very unlikelihood that anybody's going to pop out and get me, because somebody already, did that for the evening, for that duration of that like hour police response time.
Makes sense.
If they even respond.
They'll respond to gunshots.
Okay.
That's the one thing they're generally pretty decent about.
They just more fell. Take a shot. Yeah, no, trying to think of LA though. It's been nice though. I don't hate the city.
There's the last one on that wall.
Oh, fuck me.
So I pour my third glass of whiskey in 15 minutes.
Yep. I can confirm that you are doing that. And you're drinking it as fast as I'm drinking my water. But I don't know. We were talking about this on the car when we went to get breakfast this morning, or breakfast, brunch, whatever it was, dim sum. About how like cities like Portland and Austin are kind of like they try to market their weird, and LA is like, no, here are celebrities. We're all totally cool and happy in sunny
California.
Sunny California town. Come one and all. And then Portland's like, we're weird. And you go to Portland and everybody's like wearing North Face sweaters and going to Pete's. And you're like, that's not weird. No, we're quirky. And you go to LA and people are like shitting on the fucking sidewalk. And there's like, we were passing a fucking garbage can in a residential area and everything else is normal. There's like nice, and the garbage can was like at one point set on fire recently and it was just a melted puddle in the street. That was... Yeah.
It's just like, whatever.
Strange place.
And you're like, that was on fire. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. You're just like, yeah, that happens.
That's the thing. Like, if I don't understand how, like, the dude with the machete and exposing himself ended up on Citizen. Like, because if I was just walking by and some dude had a machete in his dick, I'd be like, sup, Bob?
Bob is, you know him too.
Gotta know your neighbors.
Yeah. No.
Even if they're urban camping.
Did they say where that was?
It said 0.5 miles.
Oh, so it was like this. Okay, yeah. Okay.
It was somewhere where I could have been walking home drunk and be like, oh, that's a dick and a machete. Cool.
Was he about to excise the dick with the machete? Or
there were no details. And for all I know, it actually could have been a female suspect. So, or someone who identified, who had a vulva and been like, yo, puss machete.
Puschetti.
Puschetti.
That sounds like an Italian last name. That's the dude that directed It. Right? Isn't that his name? It's like something like that.
I mean, for all I know, we'll go with they, had the handle of the machete hanging out of them and was swinging it around by their hips.
Okay. I think a guy could do that.
I mean, you could definitely ram a machete handle up your asshole.
Yeah.
And swing it around like a tail.
But that's the thing. Okay, so I know we're kind of just making light of this, right? But LA is genuinely this fucking weird. And you go to the Pacific Northwest and everybody's like, look, we're so weird and quirky, but they're fucking normal. They're all normies up there. For the most part, there's like 5 weird people in all of Portland. And Austin has like a guy that wears like a buffalo like cowl thing and drives around on a motorcycle. Like that's not that weird.
Didn't that guy attack the Capitol?
Maybe, but no, that it's a different guy, I think, probably, hopefully. But the shaman guy, right? What was his name? It was like the Q shaman or something.
The QAnon shaman who has now renounced it. And that fucking, I don't care if I piss you off with this one, but that fucking piece of shit when in jail was like, I have dietary restrictions. I'm going to go on a hunger strike because you're not meeting my dietary restrictions. Like, that's what you believe in so strongly? You're fucking...
It's kind of humorous to me that like the weird like gluten-free dietary like diet obsessed like Pacific Northwest culture is now like infecting the like right wing of the United States, and they're like, oh, I have a gluten intolerance, I can't do this jail thing. And you're like, the fuck?
I think that really falls under don't do the crime if you can't do the time.
Yeah.
If you can't eat bologna on white bread, don't do crimes.
Is that a euphemism?
No, that's legitimate. Just
bologna on white bread?
Sheriff Joe down in Maricopa County, Arizona used
that fucking asshole.
Yeah. Used to put people in tent cities and feed them bologna on white bread to save money.
I mean, was there like ketchup with it?
I don't know. I ain't ever been to jail. Believe it or not, folks, never been arrested.
I haven't either yet.
Days young.
I'm surprised I didn't get arrested last summer just because I was working around the protests and also just there pretty just not even protesting some of the times just because I had to commute back and forth from downtown. I'm surprised I didn't have more run-ins. I only had one instance where I like got
detained.
Where like shit was like getting fired at me directly.
What do you do in those situations?
Well, have you ever been tear gas before?
Nope.
Oh, it's cool. So it's kind of like you can't really do much. So tear gas has this like really shitty way of making you at once dizzy, like you just smoked way too much weed, and also like you just rubbed, like a habanero or some shit in your eyes, right? Like you just ate like a Reaper pepper, and it's like that it's disorienting. Like I think
that's kind of its job.
Yeah. You just get temporarily blinded, and you're like it doesn't even hurt so much as it like it's just disorienting. And the shock of it, I think, is the
your brain is just like, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah, exactly. The stimulus is so overwhelming. And what I did in that situation was I just kind of found a wall and felt my way along it to try to get away from where I was going, or where they were, or whatever. But the way that the Portland cops were, they were like, "Oh, we'll direct everybody here," and then walk them right into another line of cops with batons ready to go. And I about bumped into an officer, and he raised the baton to hit me. And I was like, bro, like really weakly, this is me being very aggressively like, I was like, don't, I can't see anything. And I was like, just give me a fucking minute. And I just kind of like staggered back, and he looked at me, and he was just like holding the baton like I was being like scolded with a newspaper. And I kind of just backed my way off. They hadn't started hitting or like really deploying any of the crate. That was like the second or third night of the George Floyd protest last year. But yeah, later on, though, they were like straight up tackling people and shooting tear gas into people's like passing cars and shit. It was wild. Like that was I think we had like the longest running protest in the United States. And
Police Gone Wild.
yeah,
It's a shitty sequel to Girls Gone Wild.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to derail you, but I just got a horrible vision of cops like flashing the camera and then tear gassing people.
I wouldn't put it past them. I mean,
instead of throwing beads at people, they just more tear gas.
That changed a lot of how even when I was just going to work and working and seeing the difference in response, because there were days that there weren't even like, I guess we'll just say liberal for the sake of putting everybody on the center left or whatever at minimum, liberal and left protesters there was days that they weren't there, and there were like right-wing protesters, and the cops would be like, they wouldn't even be messing with them and shit like that. And I could see this stuff like outside of my workplace, and I watched like people drive like on the right-wing side of things, drive through a parking garage with a pickup truck, like drive right through the control arm thing and try to like run down other protests. And it was like some weird shit, man. That was part of the reason I wanted to come down to LA, because I was like, I'm kind of tired.
And now you're going right the fuck back.
Yeah, I'm going. Well, everybody,
because there's no possibility of ever popping off again.
I mean, it probably will, but I'm not going to be downtown as much. I'm thinking I might Portland's a lot. I know how Portland kind of works for me. So living there I know where all the offices to do stuff are. I know I don't have to wait in line. I don't have to make appointments like I do here for shit. And it's worth that kind of a stress. And I don't know that we're going to have like another, God, I'm going to regret saying this. I don't know that we're going to have another massive worldwide pandemic thing that's going to happen right after this one, at least hopefully.
Oh no, this one's just going to go on forever and ever.
Maybe. But everybody's acclimating to it, for better or worse.
No, they're not. That's a goddamn lie.
Compared to last summer?
I don't know. I didn't leave my house last summer because that was dumb.
I did. And they were people were a little weird, man.
I mean, the protests weren't dumb. Leaving your house was dumb.
Yeah.
If you're leaving your house, That's going to be taken out of context. That's going to be clipped. Whatevs.
I think people understand there was it was a balance between trying to adhere to like public safety type stuff and also going up to show solidarity and, you know, wreck some cop shit too.
Well, and I love that like the right wing people are like, oh, how come we got to stay inside unless you're fucking protesting? Like, hey, motherfucker. Well, here's the thing.
Another one fell. The protesters were, when I was there, they were all taking social distancing very serious. So it was kind of funny because as Portland has this national reputation as of last year for being this like lawless place, but they all like to follow the rules, which is hilarious, right? So they'll be like, we're going to anarchy, take down the cops. And then they're all 6 feet away from each other. It was
That's like piss poor phalanx.
Yeah. But they were being, I mean, I viewed it as like, you know, doing your, I'm going to sound like a damn American here, doing your constitutional duty to you know, assemble and all that kind of stuff.
What I said to a lot of people that were like, oh, I can't believe, you know, you're allowed to avoid lockdown if you go protest. Like,
that's not how that works, though.
Well, it's not how that works. And also, like, it's societal anger. These people are taking to the streets to protest. They're going to do it if you say it's legal or not. So lawmakers and stuff like that don't want to completely lose control of the situation by being like, no, you can't do this either.
Well, and your problem too, though, is the protests were so widespread that who are you going to get to enforce the lockdown stuff if they're all busy handling the protest stuff? They had to switch priorities. So.
Exactly. There are only so many fucking resources.
It doesn't mean that you can... I don't know. I feel weird because anytime you're having a discussion like this, you always sound like you're being the authoritative voice, and it's just two guys kind of just voicing their opinions or whatever. But it seemed like I know Portland on both sides of shit were by day like 80 or whatever, where everybody's just fucking exhausted, and people who hadn't gone to protest were like going suddenly, and people who had been going the whole time were starting to go home and stuff because everybody's just got like, they're just done. And cops are quitting and new cops are being cycled in. The feds are bringing in like cops and stuff like that. It was like we actually got to see a point in a protest where the bench came in. You know what I mean? Like if you're talking like a baseball game or something like that, all the bench players that never get subbed in, they were all working by that point on
some cop who's guts like pouring all over his fucking duty belt.
Yeah, the dude that's like, man, I was just doing office work and now I got to do this shit. And yeah,
he's winded looking at protesters. Yeah, like, oh, come on, man. Don't maybe chased you.
The cops were being shit, but the protesters, to their credit, I remember I left Oregon for my birthday, right? And in June, and I went to visit my family, which is also a COVID no-no, but
how many family members did you kill?
All of them. Inheritance, bro. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, COVID's natural causes, so yeah, that works.
No, I just wanted to be near them. I didn't really go inside.
While they die? Yeah, I get it.
I kind of just stayed at the end of the driveway and said hey and stuff like that and stayed in a hotel. But anyway.
So you could kill poor hotel employees? Good job, man.
Contact free.
How are you contact free?
At a hotel?
Yeah.
I don't contact people when I'm in the hotel. I just kind of stay in the room.
Oh yeah, housekeeping staff.
I put the don't disturb sign on the door and sleep in dirty ass sheets for like a week. Yeah. I actually don't like housekeeping coming in and freshening stuff up. I don't trust them, like, because I know what I would be like. I'd be like, oh shit, that dude left his iPad out. Yoink. Because I would take it.
I am not stereotypical.
A lot of hundreds.
I am not stereotypically thinking that housekeeping is going to rob me. I just don't like people in my space.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, and I don't mean this to be that housekeeping people are gonna. It's just my like, if I leave my shit at your house and you are home, I'm gonna be like, is he going through my shit?
No, I'm just masturbating into it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And I don't want people masturbating into my like I don't want to open my laptop and see somebody's like cum puddle.
I mean, it makes modern art when you open it up.
Yeah, and the people who are listening can't see me miming the opening of a MacBook and just the strands. Just
modern fucking art, sir.
Almost cartoonish, like glue.
Yeah, you can resell that.
Yeah.
I'm doing you a solid. I'm giving you a Matt Slayer original.
But I came back, so like it was disorganized, right? And I went to visit family, and then I came back a couple weeks later, and the protesters went from the like 6 foot away from each other and observing the stuff to they were like doing some weird shit where they were radioing and they were like checking the wind patterns and stuff like that, and they were guiding the cops up into the wind as they were being tear gassed, so the wind would blow the tear gas right back at the cops. It was like they went from like uncoordinated basic shit to suddenly they were like trained, and I was like, oh shit.
Speaking of like trained protesters,
2 weeks.
Did you see like the Hong Kong protests where they're like fucking throwing cones over it and like
Yeah. The Portland people I knew were like actually watching that stuff and going, this is what we're gonna do. And I remember when I got tear gassed a couple times or whatever, people were just bringing, it was like Malox or something, like the was it calcium carbonate kind of shit. They were bringing Malox and stomach indigestion type things, and you pour that shit, like a solution that's like I don't remember exactly, but it's like water in that, I think, diluting it a little, and it actually I totally lost the word. It totally
neutralizes.
That's the word. It neutralizes the tear gas burn on your eyes. And I have a picture on my social media where it's like me with all this it looks like somebody gave me a proper money shot, and I've got like all this like white crust and stuff down my face, and I look like I just got like my ass kicked or gangbanged, whatever you want to call it. I know I'm
bukkake in that situation.
I got bukkakeed. And it was the Malox or whatever. It was like instant relief. It was cool. Like they should be marketing that shit.
Yeah, I don't think that's their plan.
No. But they probably made money. I know I have friends who work at various, that sounds so ominous, but I have friends who work for like companies that produce stuff like that. And they were saying that like their profits shot the fuck up during COVID. And I imagine the same was true during the protests where like the manufacturers for like ballistic goggles and fucking, indigestion medicine and spray bottles and all kinds of shit, gloves, probably made bank all summer, because I know that like people who make like all the PPE shit were like mass producing the fuck out of that and making a killing. So yeah, maybe the Malox people trained the protesters so they keep it going.
They had some sales rep down at the protest like, hey, fellow protesters, do you know what I found that works well against tear gas? Malox.
Here's a lacrosse stick, everyone. Just passing them out, and then they're like teaching them to play lacrosse. Because did you see the footage of like the cops shooting tear gas and dudes catching it? And those dudes are white, right? Like and they're not. There is like a certain kind of white. Like I never played lacrosse because I was in a semi-rural high school in Ohio. The type of people I know that played lacrosse, they have like a golf, what do you field? Like
field hockey?
No, golf, like a golf
course.
Yes, course. I'm losing all the words, man.
A beer.
They have like golf course backyards and shit. You know what I mean? But there were dudes catching the tear gas in lacrosse sticks and whipping them right back over the fence at the cops, and that was some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. Because it's like on one hand, that's some talent, like that. The dude catching that shit, like I couldn't have caught the projectile, except maybe in my face, right? And the dudes are like, the net's like not very big. It's like the size of a coffee mug or some shit.
I mean, that's how you play lacrosse.
So yeah, and I'm wondering like if there was there were detectives like, all right, we're gonna narrow down all the lacrosse players in the region and find out who moves like that. I don't know. This is going off the rails.
No, this podcast go over the rails. No, there are no fucking rails.
Does your podcast ever like stay on track or have like normal conversations, or is it all like some crazy shit?
I mean, you're telling me you don't listen to the podcast? Thanks.
Well, I've listened to some of it, but I don't listen to like a lot of podcasts, which is a weird admission to make considering I'm on them.
Well, the ones you have listened to, have they stayed on the rails? Have they been normal conversations?
No. Yeah, that's a good, yeah, no. And your clips are always like taking out of context, like the weirdest. Really? One more dropped? Take a shot. I'm out of water.
I gotta pour more whiskey. I like that. This is my fourth or fifth glass.
Yeah, I noticed. We're already like we're rewinding the clock to the protests and shit. I like how we're working our way forward from the last time I was on the show. And then
By the end of 2 hours, we'll be like, and we had dim sum this morning.
are we doing a full 2 hours?
No, we're doing 6.
6 hours. Okay, cool.
This is a marathon till the SD cards go dry.
Okay, so let's see. The protests happened. I moved to LA. Didn't really like it. And then I went to Greece for the summer.
So why didn't you like LA?
I don't know, man. I mean, I like everything except for, like, I hate... It's little shit. It's like having to fucking move my car twice a week for street sweeping. And...
Well, if you're in a better tax bracket, that shit wouldn't happen.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I don't got to move my cars.
Yeah. The parking just sucked. I remember trying to go to a bookstore one time. I was just like, I want to check out a bookstore downtown. I don't remember which one it was. I don't remember.
Probably the last bookstore.
Yeah, probably. And I was like, I gave myself like a 10 block radius to find parking. And I was like, everything was under construction. And because COVID was kind of easing up on restrictions, they started filming downtown again. So every turn I would make would be everything's cordoned off because there's construction work, or I would take a left turn, go under a bridge or some shit, and I wander into like a Falcon and the Winter Soldier fucking thing or some shit. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, oh, they're filming some shit here, and there's like a Disney van and some other shit, and so I had to like U-turn. There was like a guy that was like with the you know, like the lightsaber baton thing, guiding me back out and was like, are you going to turn left? Are you going to U-turn? Are you here for this? And I'm like, I just wanted to go to a fucking bookstore, and I don't want to pay $50 for a fucking lift from Hollywood to get.
You know, they do have a red line. You could have just taken the train.
What the fuck is a train?
Well, Michael, they invented the train many, 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 many years ago. It is a point of conveyance where it takes you from point A to point B along steel tracks.
What? That sounds like bullshit.
And there is one that goes from Hollywood to downtown LA, believe it or not.
Where is this one? The stabled stop.
Well, from where you were living, you could have gotten on at either Hollywood and Western or Hollywood and Vermont.
Okay, I know where both of those are. That's really close.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Anyway, moving on.
And then you could have been right downtown.
Look, I just wanted to have
for $1.75. $1.75.
My car was free, and I just wanted to.
No, your car was not free. You spent more on gas getting down there.
I don't care.
Oh, well, all of a sudden money doesn't matter to you? Oh my God.
Yeah, I should. That's why I'm not in the higher tax bracket or whatever, right? Because I'm just making dumb decisions like
paying for my dim sum,
paying for your dim sum, and yeah, me and Mr. Slayer here, Dr. Slayer. You should get a PhD so I can call you Dr. Slayer. Have an arrangement where I can crash his couch and for like up to 2 nights if I buy him dim sum.
It's a good deal.
Yeah, it's somehow slightly less expensive than a hotel. So
yeah. Still cheaper than the Korean barbecue we had yesterday.
Oh God. I don't want to talk about that. We were supposed to do this podcast yesterday and
someone fell the fuck out.
You pushed me to my we were like, you know how like, so there's like, you know, this type of bros who will like, I can outlift you, and they'll just be pumping iron and shit, and they'll be like, I'm gonna stack more weights on, and me and you were like, one more round of meat. Just kept coming, and I was like, I can hang. I'm good at this. I haven't eaten all day, and I made the mistake of eating sides at the same time. I was eating like the main meat stuff and drinking beer and whatever that one shit was.
Soju.
Yeah, soju. And water as well. And I got to a point where my stomach felt so full it hurt. It was like I've not felt diaphragm pain from eating in a long, like since I was a kid. And I was like, I think I'm done. And then you pointed me to the sign where they're like, if there's any meat left, you know, they're going to charge you for an additional plate. And I'm like, oh fuck, there's like a whole bowl of meat. And I had to like force myself to eat that.
While he was doing that, I ordered another round for myself.
Yeah.
And then I ate off his plate.
Yeah, you had like one piece of pork.
I know, but it It was a power move.
It was a nice gesture.
It wasn't a nice gesture. It was just a dick power move. It's just like, I got space for this.
Yeah, you'll see it as a dick gesture, but your projection to me was you were helping me out. And I'm going to say thank you. And anyway, so
I love that your trauma is just putting you in denial.
Yeah, right. And then we're gonna the trauma of you eating more than me.
The trauma of the whole experience.
So we get back to the apartment, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna do the podcast a little bit. I'm like, I'm just gonna sit down on the couch, and then I was out for fucking 7 hours, and I woke up at like 2 or 3 a.m. and I was like, oh fuck, there's like messages on my phone. You awake? You okay? That kind of shit. And
yeah, instead I just streamed till 1 a.m.
Yeah. That was disorienting. I've not actually gone into a full coma before from food, and it was the best sleep I've ever had. So I'm thinking instead of like, taking having an edible or taking some like sleep medication, I might just go get Korean barbecue until I'm about to fucking burst, and then go lay down and be unconscious for a solid 8 hours. That was like some fucking Disney cartoon bear sleep. That was like Baloo shit. It was amazing. Fucking, I can't recommend if you have sleep problems to go just get K barbecue and
try to keep up with me.
Yeah, you should. That's why you should get your PhD. You'd be like, okay, come to my office. We're gonna work on your sleep, and you just fucking turn it into a contest. And when they're about to pass out, you drive them and drop them off, and then they fall asleep on the steps of their apartment building, or they make it to bed, and then they're unconscious for like 8 hours. It's perfect.
And the best part is, I know actual competitive eaters, and I'm not that hard.
Yeah.
I did a pizza challenge with actual competitive eaters a couple years ago. I'm like, oh, I thought I could eat. Oh no, I cannot eat.
Well, you had an advantage because you weren't eating any of the sides, and
I ate a bunch of kimchi.
And but I was eating like the noodles, the salad, the like different shit, and you were like, rookie mistake. You warned me at the beginning. You're like, dude, you don't eat those. And I was like, I just want to try them.
I'm like, they're delicious, but you don't eat them.
Yeah. And I just had this feeling that there was like somebody in the kitchen just watching me specifically, like, you know what I mean, that paranoia where they're like, ha ha ha, ha, dumb son of a bitch thought he was gonna eat all that.
Well, the service was like, I love that spot, don't get me wrong. Service was a little slow yesterday, but I think they saw me coming in fucking track pants and
yeah.
Oh shit, Matt's here to party.
Yeah, you came in straight up in. You were dressed kind of like The Rock, circa 1999, after he had the pec surgery.
But no,
it was like black shirt, like
no fanny pack.
Pants. Yeah, no fanny pack.
Giant gut though.
You're about to hit me with the fucking steel chair like 17 times. That was a good outfit. For eating Korean barbecue.
Oh yeah, no, I'm literally wearing the same outfit right now.
Yeah, I think both of us are like disgusting enough to be wearing the same clothes 2 days in a row.
Oh, what's even worse is I took a shower before I put the same clothes back on.
That's really weird.
I mean, I put on fresh underwear and socks.
I like how so listeners of your podcast are like, wow, he's got life insurance to cover catering. And then with me, if they've heard me before, they're like, that guy thinks that pigs should eat human flesh, and then we should sell the pig meat. And that's a way to like solve hunger and population problems. And then, you go through some weird shit. It's nice.
Is it weird? Is it really weird? I don't think it's weird. Why do you think it's weird?
It's weird compared to what people talk about on like, even like the true crime podcasts and shit like that, where they're supposed to be all gory and shit, is like usually very sanitized.
They're talking about actual people who died. We're talking about theoretical comedic concepts.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, I haven't fed anyone to a pig since we've been gone. I don't know what you were doing in Greece.
Well, I was just working on my startup, which is about ending the coming hunger crisis.
Do pigs like human flesh with olive oil or without it?
That's a good question. I don't know.
See, you didn't do enough research while you were in Greece.
Man, I just like coughed in the microphone. Yeah, gosh. What did I even do in Greece? Saw my brother get married. I did do that.
Did not have sex.
I did a bunch of book designs.
Did not have sex.
Are you going to say that every time I listen to something? I'm going to be like, I ate a shit ton of food. I actually gained weight.
Did not have sex.
Which is probably related to that, right? And then...
Why? I thought Greek women loved healthy men. Have I been deceived?
I don't even know how to respond to that, because like the portions in Greece are the opposite of healthy, and like
Oh, that was air quotes healthy. Like, like
air quote. Yeah, I got you.
He's a big dude. He's a healthy boy.
Well, even big is relative though too, because I'm what 6'2", and most Greek dudes are like 5'8", and that's like tall for Greece. So
all the Spartans were like 5'4".
Oh yeah.
A tall shield, tiny dude.
Yeah, they had these giant ass shields, and they were just like little dudes. That's why Why do you think they were so like?
They're hard to
aggressive?
Hit. They're just hard to hit, man. Less target.
I'm torn between like making fun of Spartans and not, because like my family side of things is from like part of my family's from like the Mani area where Sparta is, and then I grew up around Athens, so I'm always like, oh, do I make Athens jokes or do I make Sparta jokes? Like,
or all of them?
Yeah, but if you were going to be an ancient Greek, I feel like a Corinthian was going to be the one you wanted to be, because that was like the Vegas of the ancient Greek like city states.
I mean, do you want to be living in Vegas now? Not really.
Not like that, but they had like the Temple of Aphrodite where you just go up and you're like, oh, it's like a brothel, but it's holy.
Yeah, I don't want religion in my sex.
I think it was more sex in your religion.
I don't want either.
Fair, but that was a different time.
I want godless orgasms.
Sorry. Godless orgasms. That's a
clip.
Yeah, that's the clip. Just it's like the clip. It's like you say that, and then it's just silence for like a solid. Me doing the Muttley laugh because I try not to laugh, and I'm just like,
what? Oh my god, it's allowed. You're allowed to laugh on a comedy show. If someone says something funny, it's only polite to laugh at it. You don't have to be like, straight face.
No,
no one said anything funny here.
Yeah.
I don't know why I hit like a Dudley Do-Right, like fucking villain, snidely whiplash. It's not polite to fucking laugh. Twist my mustache.
Oh man, those cartoons though. They don't make cartoons that good anymore.
They make different cartoons.
The adult like swim type stuff and like the more adult humor kind of cartoons are good, and the animation is interesting and good, but like the shit that they make for kids ever since like the late 90s onward is some of the most sanitized looking shit I've ever seen. And all the Hanna-Barbera stuff, they all look dirty. Like all those animals in that cast look fucking like some of them are dressed like they'd pop out at the bushes and like fucking open their coat on.
I mean, fucking Yogi Bear's wearing dressed like a Chippendales dancer. He's got a tie on and nothing else.
I love that he has a fucking tie and a collar on. Right? Doesn't he have a collar?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He's got like a fucking
collar, hat, tie, nothing else.
Yogi Bear's like going to the fucking store. He's like, ooh, a French collar by itself. Yeah, like that's.
I mean that's my sex look too. Just collar, tie, hat, nothing else.
Yeah. When we were out on the porch and you were asked earlier if you own a suit, and I feel like that's what you were in your head. You're like, yeah, I have a suit, and it's just the tie with the collar, and you just Yogi Bear like a picnic basket, but it's full of like
sex toys.
It's full of sex toys. Yeah.
Hey, boo boo, we're gonna fuck that ass.
Someone's gonna listen to this and then make that.
They should.
Like, that's a fucking script.
It should.
And if you do, please hire me. I will write it for free. I'm here for you. I want to get an email tomorrow.
That'd be amazing. This isn't being released tomorrow. Fuck. I mean, someone's bugging my apartment.
That would be, well.
That's why the foam can't stay on the wall. It's hiding the bugs.
Fucking foam. I mean, do you ever think about like, not necessarily like somebody bugging you, but do you ever think about how like there's like the layers of society beneath society and stuff like that? Like I was telling you about the Armenian flag thing yesterday, right? So I have my van parked on the street in Hollywood, and I was like, I have all my shit in it, right? Like, and I'm like, I don't want this to get broken into. And I was talking to one of my Armenian friends, and I'm still up in the air about whether to refer to him as my Armo friend, because Armo is apparently a pejorative, but all Armenians refer to themselves as Armos. I don't know. I'm confused. Anyway.
Well, it's like the N-word, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like people use it as a pejorative, but all of my Armenian friends will be like, yeah, just put the Armo flag on your dash. And I'm like, oh, but is this okay for me to say?
I don't know. I'm not saying it with an A or an ER, so.
Yeah. I'm not getting into that conversation.
I mean, I'm just not doing it.
But like I'm Anatolian Greek, right? Like on the other side of my, on the other side of that. And that's like a degree. We're like, we would have been next door to Armenia, once upon a time. And so I feel like a kinship with Armenian friends, which is why I have like a lot where I'm like, what should I do? And they're like, just put an Armenian flag on your dashboard and make it like obscure anything that's in the back that you can see from the driver's window. And I did that and I was like, it looks kind of ominous. And they're like, yeah, that's the point. And they're like, by the way, you'll probably get a phone number on a piece of paper slipped under your windshield. And I was like, say what? And so lo and behold, 2 days on the street, I walk out to check the van this morning and there's a fucking phone number with a illegibly scribbled name or word on the piece of paper. And I text my friend that gave me the flag and he's like, told you, you're getting recruited. And I was like, what? And I text my other Armenian friend and she's like, mob. I was like, okay. So that's kind of cool. Like that it's very, I'm trying to think of something good. I hate Under the Silver Lake, but it's kind of like that. You know how he goes and he rubs like James Dean's head or some shit. And then like the homeless king appears and is like, I'm going to take him down to these caverns. It was kind of like that vibe. I feel like if I call that number, I'm going to I'm going to like go on an adventure I did not intend to.
But you'll have your new novel.
Yeah, I'll either make money or I'll be dead too, I think.
Or both.
Yeah.
Your estate will make some money.
But that's something I thought was really cool. That it was just funny. My friend was like, "Yeah, just put the flag on your dad, and you're gonna get recruited. Somebody's gonna
see what's up with you."
Yeah, and I don't know what the recruitment is. I just heard vaguely mob, and I'm just like, well, I don't give a shit about that stuff. I'm not gonna like be like, oh, it's all mobbed up. It's so horrible. I'm like, people are weird and everywhere.
I mean, what we should do is reverse directory that number and see who it belongs to.
I don't want to do that.
I do. I mean, not on air, but
yeah. I like them on air. We're like, oh,
well, that belongs to
yeah. Somebody with an IAN ending on their last name.
What? Kim Kardashian?
Yeah. Okay. What if she was just like slipping me her phone number? Damn. That's why her and Kanye got divorced. She was slipping a number under the windshields. It just
random Armenian dudes.
How they get you. No, but like,
I don't know. I never watched the sex tape. Does she look like a fun lay?
I don't know. That I find that fascinating though. Like, because if that's a thing that happens where somebody will try to like recruit somebody just because they're of the same ethnic background or whatever. What else is there that's like a secret? Because it's almost a secret. Like mafia is secret society shit. Like even though we don't think of it categorically and go secret society, mafia, mob shit is. It's very exclusive. It's very secret society shit, right? And what else is there? Is there like rich people caverns under like tombs under LA? Like,
oh yeah, 100%.
And you get into like this is where you tread on like conspiracy territory, but I feel like if you're gonna have a conspiracy, the place to do it is LA because everybody's fucking weird and rich.
Oh yeah, I mean, why do you think so many fucking cults started here?
Yeah, you have all the fucking cults. You have the like weird sex trafficking shit. I always call all sex trafficking weird sex trafficking shit because it's a weird fucking impulse to do that. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna shame all sex traffickers.
As you should, as you fucking should.
But it's just like, what other secret society shit exists that you have a key to? Like in my specific situation here, putting the flag on the windshield was like a key where a phone number appears, and it's like that's kind of cool. And you get into like some kind of crying of lot 49 Thomas Pynchon shit where it's like, this is where I'm losing all your listeners.
Yeah, you lost me too. Or
there'll be one guy that's like, yes, a crying of lot 49 reference. I've been waiting my entire life, and I have a tattoo of the post horn. Yeah, I know I'm a fucking nerd. It's great. But like that, just the idea that you take an action that you don't think anybody's looking or noticing, and then suddenly they notice, and you unlock the door to this like adventure of some sort. Like I don't know if your listeners probably wouldn't know, but I'm a writer as well. Yeah, that's fucking. I feel so terrible saying that in LA, being like, I'm a writer.
I'm a writer.
It's like, I'm a writer too, and they're like, oh god, tune out. But to have something that sets up like that is such a exciting hook. Like, yeah, I don't know. have you experienced anything like, I'm like interviewing you now. Like, have you experienced anything like that where it's just like you did something and then something opened up for you like that? That's not a euphemism.
No. I mean, not that I can really think of. Not that like.
Well, okay. How did you get into doing like porn work?
Well, see episodes number.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you got it all cataloged.
No, I mean, I couldn't tell you which episode it was, but like, it's a story I've told on here multiple times. It was literally something I fell into just partying with other people in the industry.
Okay, so you're key to that I don't want to call it an underworld, but it's like not everybody I know.
That fraternity?
Yeah, essentially. I mean, it kind of is like a fraternity or secret society kind of thing, because it's like you see the product, but you don't see the culture outside of, unless you're like a diehard. It's not like Marvel where it's just everywhere.
But it is everywhere.
Everybody watches porn, but it's not. It doesn't get the coverage at the surface level the same way. And for you to fall into that is interesting to me because I wouldn't know where to like find the key for that. Right?
I didn't know where to find the key for it.
But it just happened.
It just kind of happened. It was a combination of like just partying with performers and like meeting other people, and then off to the races. I mean, that's how everything fucking.
But how
works.
do you meet the performers? Right.
Well, I met most of the performers.
Everybody listening is like, oh, he's asking how to meet porn people. Cool.
Well, no, one of the bars I hung out in Chicago regularly had a fucking Burning Angel night.
Okay.
And at that point, there was like 7 performers that lived in Chicago.
And just by like being in the right place at the right time, they're like, hey.
Yeah.
Cool.
This guy's not just here to fuck us or try to fuck us.
Weren't you?
No.
No, I'm kidding. You're like,
I'm like doing the math of like all the Burning Angels performers that lived in Chicago at the time. I've had sex with 2 of them. Okay.
See, there you go.
But that was years after the fact. It was not like during that time.
Were you like, hey, I was that guy at that bar? And they're like, oh, I remember you. And you're like, hell yeah.
No, it was literally like one of them I dated for half a minute before I left Chicago. And then one of them like I hooked up with years later.
Okay. All right. So you have had sex.
Oh yeah, I'm not you.
I thought you were an incel, and I was like, damn.
No. My fluids have been spilled on the couch you slept on.
Nice. Wouldn't be the first time I've laid in some shit that somebody was like, yeah. Bro, when you crash floors or couches, you don't.
That's why it's leather.
Well, and hotels are not clean. I don't care what anybody says. They don't fucking launder the pillows. There's juice all over those fucking mattresses and pillows. Like no, that's not.
No, they're not replacing the mattress unless.
Yeah, they're not doing any of that shit. It's not like covered in plastic. They're not wiping it down. They're just putting a new sheet on it. So
you better hope that they didn't fuck a squirter in your bed.
Yeah, if you nutted all over the fucking couch and glazed it, and I laid on it like years after the fact, that's no different than me staying at the fucking hotel I stayed at.
Except honestly. You know the juice.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't care.
If you care or not, you've done it multiple times at this point.
But that is interesting to me that you kind of you find these things accidentally, and in a lot of like the narratives,
I mean, but that's everything in life.
But a lot of the narratives around like secret society type stuff is like somebody's intentionally assembling clues, and I think that the reality is, for the most part, I mean, aside from the like kind of informed guess about the Armenian flag thing. Because that was like coincidence that I just happened to be parked there long enough for somebody to walk by it, right? In a city of however many million. And most narratives, right? They'll set you off with like a mystery or a clue, and then somebody descends into this like underworld of weird shit. But the reality, most of the time, it's just like, yeah, I was just going to the same bar.
Well, and also, if we really want to test the situation, park the same van in like South Central with the Armenian flag. Do you get the note?
Ooh, I don't know.
Like, does it have to? I feel it has to do with the neighborhood you're in.
Well, what's South Central like now? Because I don't. I know like pop culture South Central from the 90s, but I haven't really spent much time.
I mean, parts of South Central are still fucking shitty as fuck. Parts of it are gentrifying.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I stayed at a friend's in South LA. I just don't know if that would be considered South Central.
I'll ask you cross street.
It was
cross streets off air.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good call.
I mean, Compton's not that bad of a neighborhood anymore.
That's interesting.
I mean, parts of it are not great, but it's not like what Boys in the Hood or fucking, the million other fucking 90s gangsta flicks were like, oh shit. Well,
and is that, I don't know, because as an outsider, you're always gonna like. It's like the people in the U.S. thinking that Portland is just like overrun by Antifa and shit. My ex was from El Monte or whatever, and most people that she talked to from LA had no idea where that was until she geographically explained it, and they're like, "Oh, I've had my car stolen there," and that was true up until I don't know. I'm not informed enough to like have that, but she lived there up until like the mid-aughts or something like that, right? Because she's originally from here. And I stayed at her aunt's house with her on like a New Year's Eve back in like 2014, 2015. And I remember, I don't know if I told this story last time I was here or not, but there were the fireworks, right? Because they don't have fireworks in a lot of the neighborhoods in LA. It's just gunshots. It's just fucking pop, 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 pop. And then in other, obviously, neighborhoods, they have the fucking illegal, explosive, crazy 4th of July shit going on.
But usually it's a combination of both.
Yeah, but in El Monte, it was like, I was hearing like pop, 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 pop. And they were like, yeah, just stay away from the windows because we've had bullets, stray bullets just like fly in and land and stuff like that and like mess up shit. But then I heard like in the back, and I was like, that was not like an automatic burst. And I was like, what the fuck? You know, that was kind of weird. And that was just like 7 years ago. So, and I know that like a lot of these areas are getting gentrified and stuff like that, but I didn't feel unsafe when I was there or anything like that. It's just like a working class, you know, Latino kind of neighborhood or whatever.
100%. And that's the thing. Almost any of these neighborhoods, like if you're not there doing some shit, you'll probably be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows?
Because nobody wants the fucking headaches of what happens if you just fuck with a civilian for no goddamn reason.
Yeah, and another thing is too, and this is probably because I can kind of like blend into different places depending. Like I when I was living in Paris, I lived in an Arab neighborhood that people were like, "Oh, that's hyper violent." And they had like the shooting that was in like 2014 or 2015. There was like a Thai restaurant that got shot up with an automatic, and it was a jihadist attack or something like that. I lived like a 3 doors down from that restaurant back in 2000, you know, a couple years earlier and stuff like that. And I never felt unsafe in any of these places. And the only place I've ever had a fucking gun pulled on me was in my hometown of Glyfada, Greece, which is like the area it was in was like the posh part of the suburb, essentially. It's not suburbs the way that like the Midwest has suburbs where it's like subdivisions. It's more like a suburb the way that like Hollywood is just apartments stacked on each other. That's the only place I've ever had a gun pulled on me.
Night, Young. Don't worry.
Yeah. Just when I'm going out of my van later. Somebody be like, I've been waiting for somebody to fucking go into this van for. I hate Armenians. I'm like, I'm Greek, and they're like, that's even worse. But
at that point, you're like, I'm from Ohio.
Yeah, I'd be like, wait, no, I'm not gonna say that joke. I was gonna make a regional joke. Yeah, like that. I don't know. I never fall into that hype thing about like dangerous neighborhoods and stuff like that because I know that you can find trouble just about anywhere you fucking want. You can go in like, you know, North Face Portland and find trouble if you want it. You can find it in fucking, you know, suburban Ohio. You can find it anywhere, right? But I don't know. It's just like a weird thing. I've never. And I don't.
But if you have a little bit of common sense, you can also fucking avoid it too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely blocks I've walked down in my life and be like, I should not be on this fucking block.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've all felt that way. It's just our tendency to like write off entire areas or sections and be like, that's like the Snake Plissken sector right there. You don't want to go in unless you're going to save the president and you're fucking got a bomb strapped to you and there's, you know, like you don't want to take, like, that's how we tend to
overgeneralize things as humans. Never.
Well, just socially though. I mean, even when you're trying not to.
Never.
You know, so all I'm saying is I don't know that I've ever felt very escaped from LA in LA.
I go into shit neighborhoods, quote shit neighborhoods all the time. And it's just like, whatever.
Yeah. One of the writers I publish, I also run a publishing house called King Shot Press. I know I'm like bad at plugging stuff because I just like talking to people. But I have a friend and writer that I've worked with, friend over many years now, named Cody Goodfellow, who wrote this book called Un-America that was inspired by the LA riots, because he's from like San Diego and he lived up in the LA area and stuff like that. And he was telling me that the way they sectioned off, and there's probably been so many endless interviews about that era, but he was driving through some areas and they had like, the cops had barricaded around like Beverly Hills to protect rich people houses. And it was like a very class disparity kind of like with the security and stuff. Like I remember I've heard like Koreatown and shit like that was like very Escape from LA that time, with people on like rooftops with shotguns and shit. But he was telling me like it was just like demolished, and they were going on a riot tour on a moped together, him and his friend. They were just like touring the shit. I just find that's fascinating that, you know, they were sectioning off parts of the city in that way. And it was like almost like reinforcing in the national narrative too, that those areas are full of bad people and it's all terrible and stuff, you know? But meanwhile, my friend was able to just safely ride, and he's Caucasian, so he's able to just safely ride a Vespa and stuff like that. And it's like, but on the narrative, it's like, oh gosh, everybody's going crazy down there. You better watch out.
I don't know. I wasn't here for the riots before my time.
I don't want to speak on that because I know there's a lot of like memories and trauma, and that's not my place to speak on that shit. But it's wild to me.
We were being shown shit from the national media, and they wanted to show whatever narrative they wanted to present us. And us in middle America at the time had no choice but to be like, yeah, that's gospel.
I mean, it's still like that, right?
No, the media doesn't. No.
I've noticed too, though, like you'll have this, you know, like mainstream wise, we're getting into like some serious ass topics. It's weird. I should drink more.
Duh. Want some Craig?
No, I'm okay. Thank you. I have to drive later.
After your body metabolizes alcohol, you can definitely drive.
So I'm just going to 1 hour per segment. What was I going to say?
I don't know. You said you needed to drink more. I was trying to enable that.
I totally lost my train of thought. It was amazing.
Well, if you drank more, it would come back to you.
I don't know that that's true.
It's science.
It only works when you're like wandering home from somewhere and you got lost and you found your way.
Exactly. You lost your topic.
Drunk memory, yeah.
You lost your topic. You're trying to stumble back.
I wasn't drinking when I lost the topic, though. So it's
I mean, you definitely were. There's an open beer in front of you.
It's an empty open beer.
Right. That means you were drinking. It didn't empty itself.
And it's only, it's 6.2% alcohol. How? Yeah, 6% like lager. Interesting.
I had no clue.
That shit's usually like 4 or 5.
Ha ha ha. It sneaks up on you with its generic can.
Yeah, it's actually we can't show it, can we?
No.
Yeah. It's something.
I mean, we've definitely shown every other alcohol brand ever consumed. Like, I'm not hiding the Elijah Craig that's being consumed.
Yeah, I mean,
come at me, Elijah Craig. Come at me.
Is it Elijah Craig that is Buffalo Trace?
No, Elijah Craig is Heaven's Hill.
It's Eagle Rare that's Buffalo Trace.
Correct.
Yeah, Eagle Rare is like slightly. I used to drink Eagle Rare, and then the
Eagle Rare is good stuff.
Liquor store owner was like, yo, if you just get that version of Buffalo Trace, it's like $10 cheaper and it's close. Because he was getting like a limited version of it.
Huh.
And he's like, it's like $10 cheaper and it tastes, and I was like, because I guess it's the same base. I don't know.
Same distillery. I don't know if Eagle Rare and Buffalo Trace are the same mash and barrels, but I don't know.
Could be aging.
Well, Eagle Rare's aged 10 years, for sure. Yeah. Buffalo Trace is definitely a younger spirit.
Significantly, yeah. Because some of that stuff can be pretty... Gosh, what was I gonna... There was something else...
You need to drink more. You'll figure it out.
There was something I was getting into that I thought was going to be an interesting point, and it was... Oh, yeah, we talk about like all the division and stuff like that with like media companies, right? And like people are like, oh, the liberal media, the right-wing media. But when it came to like Portland protesters and like covering Antifa and stuff like that, they were all like, yeah, Antifa is all bad. They're terrible. To get, like they were like unanimous, and people are like still chanting. And I'm like, does nobody, like people can't see, and I'm not saying, this isn't like a Antifa is awesome or bad or anything. I'm just trying to give like a clinically detached view of this stuff, and it's like there's coverage that's just like all sides agree on, and like you watch it just I don't know that stuff. I don't want to go into any
what
conspiracy stuff.
Okay. Well,
Not small C conspiracy. Most of the country believes this stuff already, so the media is just selling them what they already.
Well, yeah, it's an easier pill to swallow if you already fucking believe it.
Yeah, exactly. They're just it's a reinforcing kind of thing.
My beliefs are right. Look at them. They're telling me.
Yeah. So I say small C conspiracy, as in they just don't give a shit. And it's a cynical ploy for ratings.
Everything's a cynical ploy for ratings, including local anchors in fucking bad Christmas sweaters.
I would wear a Christmas sweater, I think, this year.
Why?
I don't know. It gets pretty cold in Portland.
Well, why are you making poor life choices to going back to Portland?
That's a good question. Does it get cold here? I was here
50.
in December.
Because down to like 50.
That wasn't cold. That was like daytime warm.
I mean, that's cold for LA.
Chilly at night. Yeah, all my friends were like, "You're gonna be freezing when you leave LA because you're thinking 70 degrees isn't cold when you're in Portland, but it's freezing in LA and we all wear hoodies." And I was like, "You're full of shit." And then 3 months later, I was like, "They're right. I'm cold."
Yeah, your body acclimates to this shit real fast.
Fucking cold. Some of the summer nights, I was like, "Oh my god, why am I so cold?" The temperature, it's like not. It's not even. I know I'm not cold, but I was like, I gotta wear a hoodie.
You get acclimated to the shit.
Yeah,
you get acclimated.
That was weird.
Believe me. When I was still living in Chicago, I had friends that lived out here, and then they'd come back around winter and just be like, "I am fucking dying." I'm like, "You're bitch made. You used to fucking wear shorts during this shit."
Yeah.
And then I've gone back and been like, nope. I was wrong to make fun of you.
But on the flip side of that, like I was walking out in 90-degree weather today, and I'm like, "Oh, this is fun."
Yeah.
I'm only like partially sweating. You know what I mean? Like
it's also dry heat.
Yeah. That's a positive, but still, like even when I was in Greece, I didn't feel like overwhelmingly hot and stuff like that because I'd been living in LA for I came to Greece pre-tan, and now I've lost it because I didn't go outside in Greece. I just was working on stuff. But I came to Greece pre-tan, and I was like fine. We had like a fucking 114 degree like heat wave. It's still dry heat and stuff like that, but it gets pretty.
Because LA has a Mediterranean climate.
Yeah, no, that's one of the attractive things about LA for me was that it felt like I have a little bit of trauma with Greece because I was living there when the crisis hit and went from a recession into like a full blown Great Depression kind of thing, and so I want to move back someday, but I don't want to like work there ever. I want to be, you know what I mean? I'd like to work remotely and live in Greece because I never ever want to be reliant on the Greek economy or Greek jobs in general ever again. And LA was like, oh, maybe I can live partially like in a Greek climate. And then I was like, oh wait, I would have to like, the job market's insanely competitive here and they want headshots for everything. Fuck that. Like, I don't want to like Portland, you can be ugly as shit and get a job. And,
yeah, but you'd have to live in fucking Portland.
Yeah, where everybody looks like they have the flu. Yeah, that's another thing too, is when I fly, I'm like, I hate LA, but here's what I love about it. Right? Which means I've been here long enough now. And so every time I fly into LA, everyone's beautiful. And every time I fly into Portland, it looks like I'm at a fucking Star Trek convention where everybody's very elfy and then they look pale. They look like they're like a Lord of the Rings. They all look like Legolas from Lord of the Rings, but not healthy. Like if he had like a skin disease and the flu. And I hate, I know there's people, I have friends in Portland are going to hear that and be like, fuck you, Mike. But I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. Like people are just prettier here.
Well, yeah, because all the attractive people from all over the country are like, I'm coming to LA to make it.
And it's not just because everybody here has work or anything, which they do. I mean, most people here do seem to get work done and stuff like that. But people come here and just, they've got a base that's already really nice as a person. And a lot of the work that's done is accenting that.
I'm au naturel, believe it or not. Au naturel.
As am I, for better or worse.
Mostly for worse.
Yep. Yeah, I gotta get some abs.
I mean, they're under like 10, 20 pounds of fat.
Dude, get this shit. For 3 months, I'll show you a picture later, but like, if you want to see. But I was like, I almost had fucking abs in the chest, and I was like in good shape. And then I went to Greece, and it just kept growing. Because I kept eating souvlaki, and I was like, this is so good, and I don't want to work out because it's so hot, and I don't have air conditioning, and I don't want to jog on these streets. They're uneven. And like, I just stopped doing anything related to being like
Healthy.
I didn't even go to the beach. I went to the beach one time and I didn't swim because I was just working on shit. And
It's okay to admit you can't swim.
I can swim. I just don't like to.
Oh, you'll admit you can swim, but you won't admit sex. Got it.
How are those even like?
They're both wet.
Fair enough. That's the problem though. When you go swimming is when you're like dipping a cookie in milk, right? And your skin starts to prune up and dissolve, right? Like that's kind of what happens, isn't it? It's the same. It's all the same.
It's all the same.
I can see it.
I completely derailed you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, but so yeah, LA's got some things I like about. This is like the most vanilla podcast you've probably ever done. You're like, the worst it got was there was a vibrator talk and some splooge on the couch.
Some splooge, a lot of splooge.
Hey man, I'm not judging. That's probably what's on my pants right here.
Oh, definitely.
That's paint.
That's my DNA.
Yeah.
Or someone else's.
Yeah, probably.
Multiple people have had sex on that couch. Some of them didn't even involve me.
I might have had sex on that couch yesterday.
By yourself?
Does that count as sex?
Technically.
Maybe. Maybe not. I had your GoPro on, so just check your footage later.
All right. Well, I just need to sign a model release
And
real quick.
Don't turn your Reservoir Dogs poster around.
Did you call him Mr. Pink's back?
Which one's Mr. Pink? Is that Harvey Keitel?
No, it's Steve Buscemi.
Oh, Steve Buscemi. Yeah.
Oh my God. Just all your fucking cred out the fucking window right there on that.
I'm sorry. I can list like the fucking cast, but I don't remember which one Mr. Pink is. My bad. I remember what's his name? Is it Tim Roth?
Yes, that's
Tim Roth has the fucking, there was like the undercover cop part where he's like talking about that and there's like the Thing in the background. I remember details about the movie, right? The Thing, like the Marvel comics, the Thing from the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I've seen the movie. I remember little things, but I remember Steve Buscemi doesn't like to tip.
Correct.
You know, I've seen, my cred's there. Just might have dwindled because I'm not a fucking hardcore. The thing is, I never claimed to be a Reservoir Dogs like super fan.
Remember characters' names doesn't make you a super fan.
I think it does. There's a bunch of, they're all wearing fucking, like, they're all white dudes in fucking ties and like.
Yeah, remembering a character's name doesn't make you a super fan.
But when their character name is Mr. This or Mr. That.
What, you remember Captain America, right? His name is Captain something.
That's a pretty easy name to remember though.
So is Mr. Pink.
How many captains are on the Avengers? There's like 2. Captain America.
Yeah.
Easy.
There was one Mr. Pink who bitched about his name the whole fucking movie.
Why do I get Mr. Pink?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
How do you not remember that? Fuck.
Okay. Fair enough. Now you got me thinking about the Madonna monologue part too. Where
Right.
It was that Tarantino himself giving that, like, where he's like, and she
Yeah, she's a fuck machine.
He's doing his like acting with his hands up.
Acting.
For those listening, I'm waving my hands in front of my face like a crazy person or like a Greek dude, and just yeah,
exactly. So not remembering who Mr. Pink was, pretty painful.
Shit, he kind of does that in Pulp Fiction too, but he's holding a cup of coffee and has his arm up, right, when he's like,
yeah,
I know how good my shit is.
Yeah, I buy the gourmet shit.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Now I'm trying to... Does he do that in From Dusk Till Dawn? No, I don't think he does. He just stares at, like, Juliet something.
Juliet something.
From the Natural Born Killers.
Juliet Lewis?
Juliet Lewis, yeah. Why did I think she had 3 names?
I'm sure she does. She just doesn't go by them.
Yeah. But it's just like Tarantino creepily looking at her, which is, I think, how he directs too. The Kill Bill, like move the toe scene.
What? The man loves feet.
Yeah. No, there wasn't like a recent interview where like, no, that's just good direction. And I'm like,
yeah, that's why Margot Robbie's feet are up in fucking Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in a fucking movie theater. Yeah, that makes sense for the scene.
Death Proof with On the Dash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood on the Dash.
Yeah. Did you like that movie?
I love that movie.
I didn't like it the first time I watched it. Second and third, I tried to watch it a couple times on planes and stuff. It's grown on me dramatically, and I
what didn't you like about it the first time?
I watched it on a plane the first time, so I think I missed some details and stuff like that. But once I realized that Brad Pitt's character is a fucking evil motherfucker that murdered his wife.
Allegedly.
Yeah, he did it. And there's no way...
This is why you didn't serve on the jury.
And yeah, when you see through the lens of him being this like almost like cold, emotionless creep, it's a fucking much better film. Like he walks into every situation, and I was like, why would he be in these? But then once you realize he's almost like pathological, he's a much better character. Like he's actually fucking great, and I like the movie now. You know, it's satisfying to see him walk onto the ranch and like make the one dude change his tire, or like the, you know, at the end with the dog and stuff like that. Just yeah,
his whole character's like, yeah, I don't really care.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it wasn't even a crime of passion, right? Like,
well, he was also on acid when he killed the Manson family. Spoilers if you haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, I think at this point they don't care. But yeah, that one grew on me. You're a big I mean, you got a Reservoir Dogs poster. You're obviously a fan of Once Upon a Time. Are you a big Tarantino fan then?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like he got more interesting and better after Kill Bill, or he got worse because he's not doing stuff like Pulp Fiction anymore?
I think he got different.
Okay.
I enjoy Inglourious Basterds. Django should have ended 20 minutes earlier than it did.
But it's fucking awesome.
Django's rad.
Yeah.
Django's rad. Christoph Waltz is just a great actor, so I'm happy.
How do you feel about The Hateful Eight?
So Hateful Eight is probably one of my least favorites.
Okay.
I went and saw that on a road show showing.
I did too. 70 millimeter.
Yeah.
Still got the fucking program.
I got it too.
Yeah, it's like brown and looks like
it
says a vinyl record.
Yep. Yeah, I got that. I went and saw it at a road show. Was fucking drinking out of a flask at like a 10 a.m. showing at the fucking.
A 10 a.m. showing.
Oh yeah, no, I went to the fucking ArcLight Cinedome here in Hollywood.
Cool.
Like 70 millimeter fucking hitting a flask at like 10 o'clock in the morning watching that shit.
I went to because I knew Portland downtown's showing like would be crowded as fuck. I went to one that was way outside in Yuppieville, and it was almost an empty theater. So I got to enjoy 70 millimeter, The Hateful. And I probably am biased in how much I love it because it was almost like a private screening for me.
Well, it was pretty big for like, you've never been in the Cinedome, have you?
Yeah.
It's a big fucking theater.
Okay. So you got a lot of space to.
There's a lot of space for a 10 a.m. show. Like,
okay.
A lot of fucking space. But it's one of those things where like, the Western genre for the most part is not as captivating for me.
Okay.
So like there's already that bias. And then the fact that like it's essentially a stage play.
Yeah, I liked that though. I thought like I like reading like plays and stuff like that. Like I learned a lot of dialogue writing and stuff like that from reading like a lot of Sam Shepard and stuff like that. And so seeing a play that takes place in a closed room, and he was using elements from John Carpenter's The Thing, like the snowy layout, the mystery unfolding aspects of it. You don't know who it could be. It could be any of these people. We don't have a DNA. Like it was structured like The Thing, but as a stage play Western rather than a horror film. And I really I think I technically appreciate it. And I think Sam Jackson does his best acting he's ever done in that movie. Like he fucking kills it.
Oh no, Sam Jackson kills it.
He's not Sam Jackson in that movie. He is that character.
Sam Jackson's real good in that movie.
Yeah.
Fucking Snake Plissken. Why am I? Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Real good. But also like at the same time where that came out, Bone Tomahawk came out.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
And Bone Tomahawk's honestly a better movie.
I like Bone Tomahawk, but I've only seen it once, and I watched because that also is like the same thing, but adds the horror in.
Yeah.
Like if The Hateful Eight had been a horror movie, do you think you would have liked it?
No,
if
I
it
actually
had started with that structure and then turned into a fucking horror movie.
See, I'm not a horror fan.
Okay.
I didn't really view Bone Tomahawk as a horror movie.
No, but it's got elements of it. Like
it's gory.
Yeah,
it's fucking gory. I think it's more of a like Western thriller more than like, because when I think horror, I think more like unstoppable forces and
okay
supernatural things and shit.
They didn't really have to go there,
right? And shit jump scares.
Yeah,
Bone Tomahawk didn't have those.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point. I mean, it is a well done movie and stuff like that.
I mean, Hateful Eight's not bad. Honestly, my least favorite Tarantino movie is Death Proof.
I don't actually hate that movie. I quite like it because of the fact that the energy behind it. It's very, you can tell it was done in like a week. Not literally done in a week, but it was like him using his minimal abilities as a filmmaker, and so it was good.
What is your least favorite Tarantino movie then?
You're probably gonna hate me for this, but it's probably Kill Bill.
Part 1 or part 2?
Both. I like elements of those movies. I like scenes. Some of those scenes in those movies are my favorite scenes. But I'd like to watch the complete version at some point, like the whatever they call that cut. That's just like the whole.
There is no cut that is both versions.
There's a.
I don't think they ever released it.
They didn't release it, but I'd like to watch the original intended version of it.
See,
as one movie.
For me, like part 2 is a much better movie than part 1.
Yeah, I liked part 2 better, and I loved like the Michael Madsen stuff. I liked a lot of like the grave.
Well, and the whole thing with part 2 is like it has Tarantino's like trademark dialogue. Part 1 really didn't.
Yeah, and I don't hate it. I guess it's just I didn't like. I like my favorite ones are like Inglourious Bastards, Jackie Brown.
And a lot of people pan Jackie Brown, which I don't get.
Fucking genius. It's so well done. It's a perfect movie. It's not as exciting as like a Pulp Fiction or something like that, but it's a perfect movie. It's perfect. Everything about it is logical. It fucking makes sense. It's like the characters are
well, because it was written by Elmore Leonard.
Yeah, but like De Niro's character, like that, people act like that was a waste of De Niro's talent, and he's fucking perfect for that role. He's so perfect. Michael Keaton's in it, right?
Yep,
like,
that's the DEA agent.
Yeah, like it's all fucking good, and yeah, so I like Inglourious Basterds, Jackie Brown. I like Django. It's not my favorite, but I do like Django. But I like Hateful Eight a lot, and I like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I think that his latter half is a lot more interesting, and I think Jackie Brown's more in the style of his latter half of movies than it is with the like more cartoonish crime neo-noir kind of stuff that he was doing.
Do you think Pulp Fiction's cartoonish?
There's moments where it is, yeah. They're
like where?
Fucking open a glowing briefcase and shit. There's like
it's a MacGuffin. I mean, it's not cartoonish.
There's a fucking scene where Butch is like, oh, a chainsaw, oh, a katana. Come on, man! Like, there's some cartoonish shit. It's fun. I love the movie. It's also a perfect movie, but for different reasons. You know, like I think Jackie Brown's like a technically perfect movie, and Pulp Fiction's like got that vibe. There's a vibe in Pulp Fiction that it just everything
Pulp Fiction
works.
Was so super stylized.
Yeah, but it all works. It's like everything I love about like Godard films, Godard, whatever the fuck his name is, movies is in Pulp Fiction, and he's updated it, and it works, and he's made the like heist type stuff and the crime elements of those kind of movies, the French New Wave type shit, and he made them realistic and made it contemporary so you could watch it and you're getting the same rush that you get watching like Breathless or something. Like he fucking nailed that shit. But there's like a rawness to it, and there's a restraint to Pulp Fiction I also like it's not as, this is weird to say that Pulp Fiction's not as hyper violent as like scenes in Reservoir Dogs or in Kill Bill especially. Well, it's definitely not as violent as Kill Bill.
Kill Bill was all about the ultra violence.
Yeah. But I mean, I do like Pulp Fiction. I think also it's one of those like Stairway to Heaven problems where you're like, of course it's a perfect song with a great solo and stuff like that, but it's been on the radio every fucking day, every hour of every day since it came out. I'm fatigued with Pulp Fiction.
I'm sorry you have that problem.
Yeah.
Take a little blue pill and you'll get it right back up.
So take some Viagra and watch Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
What could go wrong?
I mean, you'll find out in 4 hours.
Pulp Fiction does have the best soundtrack, though, of all of his movies, I think.
I mean, Jackie Brown has a really solid soundtrack.
Yes, it does. But the Bouzoukia style intro music, I don't remember what the fuck it's called.
I mean, the Surf Rider or whatever.
It's like the
it's Surf Rider or some shit like that.
It's iconic. You associate it with that the close-up scenes where they're getting fucked up and then driving around town, bending the spoon and like that whole process. It's got a certain.
Well, and the dialogue is so sharp.
It's actually it's very comic booky. Actually, the way the way everything is framed and shot, it feels like a comic.
Maybe that's why I enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
I love Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
But I also have I saw Pulp Fiction for the first time in theaters in a secondhand theater when I was 13.
Oh shit!
And I was taken there by friends. I had no idea what I was walking into. Like, two of my friends were like, "We're gonna go see this movie, Pulp Fiction. You want to come with?" And it was a secondhand theater. I shouldn't have been allowed in. I was fucking 13.
Yeah.
And
back in the 90s.
Yeah. And then the Bring Out the Gimp scenes was like, my mind was blown.
Oh man, man, the 90s though, for watching movies as like a teen, if you brought a parent to the cinema, they'd let you in.
Oh, I just used to go to fucking movies I should not have been able to get into by myself. I saw Natural Born Killers in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Pulp Fiction in the theater. And Natural Born Killers was NC, you had to be fucking of age to get into Natural Born Killers. I theater hopped in.
I respect that.
Let's see, like,
I'm very fortunate that when I wanted to, because I am a big horror fan. I've got like a few horror tattoos and stuff. My mom was cool enough when I was younger that she trusted me to be watching like shit that I wanted to, like she knew I was always a big movie buff because she worked on like a base, and there was like a movie theater on Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio, and I would go with her to work because she worked there. And I'd go to the cinema. I watched like the Star Wars re-releases in the 90s there and stuff like that. And when I was getting older and starting to get really into horror and stuff, she would just be like, yeah, I'll drop you off at the cinema. What time do you want me to pick you up? And I'd be like, I need you to tell them to let me in as my mom because it's an R movie.
Right.
It's got blood and guts and stuff like that. And she was totally cool because her mind, like boobs being on TV or a little bit of like violence and stuff like that wasn't a big deal because they'll show titties on screen in Greece after like 10 p.m. on broadcast television.
Right.
So it'd be like you're like on NBC and then suddenly boobs are out and you're like, oh, not like rated X shit or anything. Does it rated X still exist? But
no, it does not.
Like it'd be like, hard R kind of stuff and you'd be watching it. And so in her mind, I think she didn't see a problem because Americans are kind of prudish about ratings and what's,
well, 100%
acceptable. Like it's weird to me to see the Disney Plus channel and then have like Iron Man 3 where Avengers Age of Ultron where Tony Stark like Robert Downey Jr. makes a joke, like a quip about giving like Rhodey a hand job or something like that when they're about fighting. He's like, if you do that, I'll give you. And I'm like, this is Disney. It's so weird to me because like that's Disney is the way it is because that's what Americans want.
Right.
Their kids and stuff like that. They go to like the Disney Channel for
sanitized,
entertainment, like not this podcast.
This podcast is very sanitized.
The Disney version of this podcast would be about 3 minutes long.
No, it wouldn't even make it past the intro.
It would just be us going, it would be all the ums and hms and stuff like that, and everything else would be edited out.
3 minutes of that's my new podcast. 3 minutes of
Oh look, another one fell. Like that would have been and then be like Disney Plus.
And not even the drinking part. Just another one fell.
It'd be photoshopped in with like juice. Ecto Cooler.
I don't know. In the 90s were a different time. Like theater employees didn't give a fuck. I saw the fucking Crow in the theater.
Oh man, that movie's perfect. It's got problems, but it's perfect.
I mean, it killed the man.
The tone, though, like the
cinematography.
Alex Proyas, right?
No, it killed Brandon Lee.
No. Alex Proyas, the director, right?
Maybe.
I think he did Dark City as well, if I remember correctly. But The Crow, there's something about that atmosphere, and I keep going back to that. I think like, like one of the highs of Pulp Fiction is the atmosphere of the movie.
You are correct.
Atmosphere of the movie. Yeah, what Alex Proyas does in The Crow and in Dark City is like it's like the Matrix before the Matrix kind of vibe, but it's all practical. I mean, The Crow's CGI, I think, but
I mean,
could you imagine they just have like some dude with a crow on a stick and they're just like pretending to flap?
I mean, there's a little CGI, but
yeah, it's just the crow flying scenes. I think they're CGI. Like a lot of it is very practical stuff, or just acting, and the lighting on that movie and
The Crow was like his first feature-length film.
I don't understand how we've had so many Daredevil movies or comic book movies where it's like dark, gritty, like Punisher type stuff, and they've never looked at The Crow and gone, "Wow, they nailed it on that." They nailed how to do this atmosphere.
They really did. He also directed iRobot
Oh wow.
and Gods of Egypt.
What the fuck? Oh,
Ooh,
they probably weren't greenlighting anything.
Wow, he has it's a real roller coaster of a career here. A whole bunch of shorts in between, but
Yeah.
it's like
Weird. But have you seen Dark City?
no, never heard of it. Jennifer Connelly in pinup garb? No. Would never be into that.
It's a cool little movie, right? Like
No, it's a rad fucking movie.
Yeah.
It's awesomely done sci-fi.
Truman Show, but like way cooler. It's
Yeah,
like
Kiefer Sutherland has a great performance in it.
The goth Truman Show is essentially what it is, and that's a spoiler for everybody. But
it's not, because it's not there for an audience. It's just like,
of course. But I just mean like the illusion aspect of it, and it's such a minor plot point. The atmosphere of that movie is so fucking good, and how did that guy go from that to iRobot and
money?
I don't know, man. Like,
how do you go from The Crow to Dark City to iRobot? I don't fucking know.
But
money.
If you're getting all that money and stuff like that, you could totally just make cool films.
Unless someone who is giving you the money is like, there are a lot of strings attached. Would you like to pay your mortgage? Mm-hmm. I would like to pay my mortgage.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, Will Smith wants a bunch of fucking rewrites? I guess we're giving a bunch of fucking rewrites to Will Smith. Will Smith brings his own writers in on every project he's on, right?
That does not shock me, because every project he's on ends up being the Will Smith project.
Right.
Yeah. Did he do that with what the fuck is that movie that sucks?
Suicide Squad?
Yeah, there we go. The movie that looks like it would have been awesome. Like,
it did not look like it was going to be awesome on paper.
No. The lighting the sets, and like when they're going into that cavern to like Indiana Jones, the whatever the shit. There's like skulls and shit. Like, it looks cool. It looks really cool, but they cut it so quickly you don't even get to actually really immerse in the scenery. And the only thing that movie slows down on is Harley Quinn's ass and Will Smith saying one-liners. And it doesn't slow down any other time. It's just so rapidly paced.
Alternatively, did you watch James Gunn's The Suicide Squad?
Yeah, and it was okay.
It was infinitely better than Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it was more cohesive. It did rest on moments, but it wasn't like a lot of people hype that shit as it was like the greatest comic book movie ever made, or
fuck no,
or like it was a trauma movie. And I'm like, I've seen a lot of trauma movies. It's not a trauma movie.
No, there's not enough boobs for it to be a trauma movie.
It was like a collection of James Gunn ideas that he'd always wanted to film, and either they never got made or they were in other projects that other people directed. So there's like music cues and moments from Dawn of the Dead. There was the head exploding from the Belko experiment. There was some Scooby-Doo beats in there. There was just like it was like he was like, you know what? I'm going to just fucking scribble this out on a fucking napkin. I'm going to use shit I've always wanted to direct that I had.
Or I've already done in some cases.
Yeah, because they were like, just do this movie however you want. And I don't blame him for that. But so for people who aren't familiar with James Gunn, Suicide Squad was probably like a fucking revelatory experience. But if you've seen all of his movies, you've seen almost every beat in that movie before.
But the bar was so fucking low.
Yeah. It's definitely one of the better DC movies.
I mean, it's the best DC movie.
And Starro is cool. It's a good, enjoyable movie. It's just...
I mean, what's a better DC movie than that?
Than Suicide Squad?
Thus goes Suicide Squad, but yeah.
That's a good question.
There isn't one.
Yeah, there's good DC performances, but there aren't good DC... like great, like a truly transcendent, great DC movie.
Or even a good DC movie. The only thing that is remotely as good is fucking Shazam. And it's different,
Actually,
very different.
Shazam was enjoyable, yeah.
But totally different tonally.
Yeah, I liked Shazam. I actually like the Zack Snyder Justice League movie. You know, I wouldn't watch it again.
Why would you watch it in the first place?
Because I actually wanted to see, like, because he had the ingredients for a great, like the casting for the Justice League. I like all the cast members as the Justice League. I think Affleck's a fucking great Batman. I think he's never gotten to be a great Batman. But when he's like on it for like a few minutes here and there, he fucking kills that role. He looks like Batman when he's got the cowl off and he's sitting there in the fucking Batcave and he's like tapping away. I'm like, I've seen that panel in comic books a million times, and it's the first time I've actually gotten to see a Batman who can just remove his cowl like it's cloth. and it just lay on the back of his fucking Batman outfit and play that. And
So you're giving props to the costume designer, not Ben Affleck.
well, he's got the look. He looks like a comic book.
He looks like a rich white dude.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He looks like a 90s rich ass Batman who's like investigating who the fuck Bane is or something. And I think it would have been cool he would have been the right Batman to do like a Nightfall story arc. Because then you could just sideline him and then have the shitty Robert Pattinson one. It's probably pretty good. But the shitty Robert Pattinson one come in and be like the Ezreal Batman.
Right.
You remember that? Do you remember that? Yeah.
Of course. I break you.
Like, that would have been fucking awesome if they would have done the Nightfall storyline and brought in Robert Pattinson as the second Batman. Because he looks like that costume anyway.
Right.
So why didn't they just do that? They just, instead of doing the Batman as like a prequel, they should have just had like the Bane shit brought in. Break Batman.
Well, because they brought Bane in two other fucking... Yeah. He was in Batman and Robin, and he was in the fucking third Christopher Nolan movie. How many times can you use Bane?
I was born in it. Yeah,
I was born in it.
Yeah,
I was born in the darkness.
Gosh. It's so funny that's not even... Is that Tom Hardy's fault? Or is that just bad directing? I don't know.
I mean...
Because he rules in like everything.
I mean, anyway. But that's also been like Christopher Nolan was a bad director here.
Yeah, but it would have been nice to see, cause like when I'm saying that, when I'm pitching that to you, I'm saying like they could sideline the Ben Affleck Batman for several movies and have a Robert Pattinson Batman that's like slightly unhinged and have like good time, shady ass Robert Pattinson being Bat. Like that would have been fucking cool, and have him come in as like the Azrael Batman. That would have been fucking sick. But instead, we got like this weird continuity mess where they're like, let's just bring in Michael Keaton now to make it even better. And I mean, that's going to probably be pretty cool.
Time will tell.
Because Michael Keaton has he done a bad movie since Multiplicity?
Maybe.
Because Multiplicity is not good, but like everything he's done since has been fucking awesome. Seems like.
Well, and when he does superhero properties, is actually pretty fun.
Yeah,
I enjoyed him as a Vulture.
He seems to have a lot of fun with the material and not in like an over-the-top Paul Giamatti as the Rhino kind of way.
What the fuck was that? What was that?
That was a paycheck is what that was. But yeah, him as the Vulture was fucking phenomenal. And he...
Hell, even as him as Birdman.
The scene in the car in the Spider-Man Homecoming where he's like, I'll fucking kill you dead. Or whatever. Like, he didn't say fucking. That would have been cool. But
yeah,
he just said, I'll kill you dead. Or something like that. It has so much gravity to it in a way that you haven't seen since like the Doc Ock Raimi Spider-Man. He was the best villain since then.
He was.
It
would have been, and like I love that it was teenage Peter Parker, because if it had been like adult Peter Parker, like, oh, you don't have your tech on, dog. I have powers.
Yeah.
Just clock him in the melon.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Peter Parker pulls his punch. Like, there's some weird shit.
But teenage Peter Parker's like still nervous about shit. Like, I'm not gonna punch my girlfriend's dad unconscious, even though I know he's a villain.
Yeah, and I like that they took away the fancy suit in the third act of that, and like that was Spider-Man: Homecoming is actually a genuinely interesting. They made some interesting choices because they gave him this cool suit and then they took it the fuck away, and then they were like, beat him now with a fucking sweatshirt on, and he gets like
I am a fan of all the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies.
He's really good for the role, and
but the direction's been good, the plots have been good.
Yeah.
Like the whole like Mysterio and company are all disgruntled Stark employees is amazing.
Yeah, I like that Stark is as much of a bad guy as he is a good guy. Like all the shit that he might have saved the world and got the legacy or whatever with the snap, but like Ultron, the dude, Whiplash, yeah. Well, he's Crimson Dynamo and Whiplash mixed, I think, right?
Yeah,
but like Crimson Whiplash, I don't know. Whiplash character, Ultron. The Mandarin stuff in Iron Man 3 was his fault. It's all like everybody's cleaning up after like Stark's party.
Well, I mean, Iron Man 1 starts that way. Yeah. Like, oh, hey, Obadiah Stane sold his tech to fucking terrorists.
But I like
because he was an irresponsible CEO.
Yeah. But I like that they made that a feature. After a while, they're like, wait, like some writer saw that it just seemed like there was a pattern of Tony Stark creating his own. Like Thanos is the only one he didn't create, right? But like then they started incorporating that in the Spider-Man movies and in various points, and I thought that was kind of interesting that now people are just cleaning up Tony Stark's mess. And it makes his character better. Are your listeners Marvel fans?
We'll find out.
Of course they are. They're Americans, right?
I mean, I have an international audience. Thank you.
Could you imagine if I was saying that like convincingly though? The red-blooded Americans, aren't they?
They love the mouse. They love Marvel.
Because if they don't like Iron Man, get out.
Right?
Is that better? Yeah.
Totally get it.
Yeah, I have two ways of talking. I have like nerd, and then I have octave drop.
How's that work for you?
It doesn't work at all. Yeah, because I never use the octave drop voice because it sucks to do that, to talk like, just to lower your voice and just talk like this all the fucking time.
Why not?
Yeah. I don't know why you growled. Ugh. I can't even do that right now.
What a failure.
My voice is shot from lack of water.
Not lack of alcohol, though.
This is like a roller coaster of a show.
No, never.
Marvel movies and
But before we run out of time, I actually wanted to segue to your new book.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah, I was like, oh, there's something missing. So this is kind of a funny release. So this book came out called The Diary of a SoundCloud Rapper. The Secret Diary of a SoundCloud Rapper. Sorry. Can't even get the name of my own book correct.
Good job on you. Drink more.
Yeah, right.
You're reaching for the beer. Go get another beer. Before you go do this talk, go grab a beer.
All right.
Go grab a beer.
I'm going to grab a water.
Beer.
Okay, I'll grab a beer.
You're on camera. You can't lie about it.
And a water.
Beer and a water. And he's back with a beer and a water.
Yep. I told you I would. I'm a man of my word.
I know. He honored his commitments earlier.
All right. Hold on, me.
Oh, look at that satisfying pop.
There we go. Okay. This new book, Secret Diary of a SoundCloud Rapper, and by this mysterious author named Young Stepdad, who may or may not be me. And on release, so when you're coming up with a pseudonymous. I'm a writer.
He uses words for a living, folks.
Fuck, I can't even say it.
Pseudonym?
No, it's not pseudonym. It's when you're saying it's like a pseudonymous. I can't even fucking do it.
Drink more. Maybe it'll come to you.
I just said it the other day. Anyway,
sure
when you're marketing a book that is written under a pseudonym, it's hard to get attention on it. So what we did was got like a couple dozen authors from a certain genre scene. It's called the Bizarro genre scene. It's like a Bizarro scene or whatever. I don't know. It's like weird fiction, Lynchian kind of stuff, just like the cult section of the video store kind of shit.
All right.
Which is where you would linger, I feel like.
That's not pornography.
No, it's not. But there's some porn in it. Anyway, we got a bunch of authors to come forth claiming their new book just came out. And it caused some confusion for a couple weeks, which is kind of cool. But it got people talking about a book that was written under a pseudonym that the author can't just promote. And, I haven't been excited about a book release in a long time, because being an indie publisher and being a writer as well, it's easy to, and it's probably like this in fucking Hollywood, where it's like most of the people you see get deals, it was a lateral financial move for them because they went to like the right school or the right, got the right connections kind of thing. And class tends to reinforce class. And so I don't get excited when somebody's like, I got a book deal. I got the book deal. I'm like, yeah, but your dad's rich. I don't get excited about that shit because that's the story more often than not. And so when this book comes out, and I'm kind of jaded at this point after like almost 8 years of trying to do shit in an indie scene, we got people talking about this book in a way that was like fun, because they're like, who is it? There were like people posting some like posts and speculations of like, well, it could be this guy. Like I was shared by the cover designer and the publisher themselves, and I wrote a fucking blog post prior to the midnight release and stuff like that. And people were still like, even though all signs point to Michael, it's probably this other guy. And I kind of love that. That the other guy just makes like one quick Facebook post, like, yeah, I think I wrote this book, and just like leaves it at that. And that's as convincing as me having actually put a story to what I was doing and why. And the book's fun. It's like a departure from my writing. Like it's a diary. It's written like there's jerking off in it, and there's like weird.
Oh, you have had sex?
Yeah. Hold on.
I mean, just with yourself.
Hold on. There's let me. Can I read an excerpt?
I mean, sure.
All right, give me just 2 seconds here to find.
Oh my God, I'm just reading on this podcast now. Yeah, I promise you, it's still not educational.
No, it's going to just be like a sentence. A
sentence he wrote but cannot remember.
I watch a hummingbird eat a bug outside my bedroom window and it turns me on. Like if I could physically shrink myself down to a miniature size, I might attempt to initiate romantic relations with the bird. Then again, I've had similar thoughts about other egg-laying animals. Maybe I'm sexually attracted to eggs. So I got this is funny because it's a screenshot from one of my friends of the book, which is why I wanted to share it. And she goes, my boyfriend read this and it makes him want to hit people. And I was like, that's a good reaction. She goes, also, you didn't write this. And I was like, come on. I can write all kinds of shit. Just because it's under a pseudonym and it's different from my normal, kind of neo-noir style of writing doesn't mean that I didn't. It just means that's why it's got a pseudonym.
Right. The character wrote this.
Yeah. Like David Lynch did the straight story. It's different. It's a departure for him. He almost directed a Star Wars movie. Like that would have been fucking weird, right?
Oh, David Lynch Star Wars? Yeah, that would have been weird.
So it's not like people who have a specific style can't. The Alex Proyas directing fucking Dark City and The Crow, which are similar, like a similar aesthetic, and then going and directing I, Robot.
Right.
Which is fucking weird, like dumb.
I actually want to go through, not to derail, but go back and like see who his director of photography were. When it just like, did they leave? Yeah, did his DP leave and like, well, this is what I'm stuck with. Fuck.
But like, yeah, it's exciting to have a mystery around a book release and it to be like an indie thing. There's no bullshit big five stuff. It's just, and I'm, I don't know. I'm just pretty excited about that. I love that people are like, you didn't do this. And I'm like,
but didn't I?
Didn't I? Yeah. It's like, didn't I? Or they'll be like, oh yeah, you definitely. And I'm like, did I though? Like, I love that aspect of it. Right. And yeah, it confuses the shit out of people, but I think that's a good confusion. And I don't get like books are fucking boring. Readings are boring. This shit is boring. Like to a lot of people, only like hard people who already write are the ones who are reading.
It's like going to an open mic.
With this kind of
it's only other comics there.
Yeah, exactly. It fucking exactly. And that to have people who aren't writers asking this question and being like, what the fuck is this? Like that's a cool thing for like a moment just to kind of break the monotony of indie releases. And I hate to say indie, but it's just like we're like the fucking,
you're not Random House.
Yeah, we're underground bands. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to get fucking attention on it. You're just doing bars and small venues and opening acts like that. You're not doing you're piggybacking off of bigger things just to survive. And so, yeah, it's exciting to have a book like that. And I wish I had a copy to show you, but I have been in Greece for 3 months. So I don't have.
I'm also illiterate, so it's fine.
Yeah, all my shit's in Portland. So,
or in a van down by the river.
Yeah, but if you, it's funny that the content of what I just read you was like way more risque than anything.
Well, no, the question is, when did you first realize that you were sexually attracted to egg-laying creatures?
Well, it's not me. It's in character, right? Like,
well, when did your character first decide that?
The diary entries aren't dated. So.
Well, yeah, but you created the background. So if I'm interviewing the character, where did the character decide that?
Am I supposed to go and like, should I go get some tattoos and like some weird hair and shit and go like full SoundCloud or TikTok?
I mean, whatever you got to do. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
I mean, like what? Like 3.
How does that happen?
3-4 years ago. What you're talking about, like the process of writing it?
Well, just coming up with that fucking sentence. Like that's not a sentence I would ever come up with.
Man, one of my, I guess I can call him a writing mentor because we've talked about the shit enough. Never a formal writing mentor, but this guy, his name's Carlton Mellick III, and he's written some
The third? Wow.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is
he's a
super, super white.
Yeah. There's quite a lot of the thirds actually in indie lit. And I remember I was talking to him when I was writing my first novel. And I was struggling with some stuff, and he was saying, like, stay awake until you're like about, like, when you start nodding off and you're like about to fucking fall asleep. That's when you push through and start coming up with some weird shit. And this is a guy, just for preface, he's written books like the Baby Jesus Butt Plug. And yeah, I know. Yeah. This is more content for your. I should have been talking about Bizarro Fiction here. I'm not really their ambassador. I was always adjacent to that scene, but I'd plug in and hang out with some people and stuff like that. And like they're into like weird shit. They have his first novel was called Satan Burger. The second book was called Electric Jesus Corpse, and it's like about it's like Jesus in a disco suit with like a fucking bottomless martini that gives eternal life. Yeah, it's fucking weird. This is shit like from 20 years ago.
That's fucking rad.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I read it. I read it at 19. I was like, fuck yeah. And I managed to like kind of weasel my way into befriending this dude. Anyways, his advice was just like, yeah, when you feel like you're going to fall asleep, like a lot of people say you should write in the morning when you're fresh and you don't have a lot of feedback and you've gotten a like proper REM cycle sleep and stuff like that, and you're going to be creatively open. But his advice was you need to let go, right? So you want to stay awake. And when you're feeling sleepy, you push through and you'll come up with like the weirdest scenes and surprising things that will surprise you. And if you write sentences that are surprising you, then they'll surprise the reader. And there's a lot of shit like that in this book. I try to employ that. Just go, okay, I'm going to sleep deprive myself. It's probably why I passed out on your fucking couch for 8 hours yesterday.
I blame that on the meats and the beers.
That too. I had the meat sweats as well.
And Australian malt liquor. But
that creatively, yeah, coming up with stuff. That's my dinner alarm. Sorry about that. I forget to eat.
All right.
That got really serious, and I'm just like, yeah, I just forget to eat. Sometimes I have to set an alarm to go eat dinner now.
See, this is why you shouldn't move to Portland. Like, if you hang around with me, you will never forget to eat.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I just eat like Korean barbecue every day.
I don't eat Korean barbecue every day.
Are you sure? Because you should.
I ain't got Korean barbecue every day money.
Yeah, but what if you did?
Then I might have Korean barbecue every day.
But yeah.
Because then I wouldn't feel bad. I cook for myself.
I don't know where to segue from that, because that's...
Or we're actually going to segue to Last Call.
Last Call?
Yeah, Last Call on this motherfucker.
Is that a beer?
I mean, that is where you plug the things and we get the fuck out of here.
Okay, so I'm plugging things. I need to get better at this. Okay, so I run a press called King Shot Press. We have books that are kind of... oh, that's a weird way to... We publish kind of like left of center, very weird and interesting books. If you like monster movies and alt rap and 80s hardcore music and shit that you'd find in the cult section of the video store, I guess, you'd probably like what we do. It's kingshotpress.com. I've been doing that for about 7 years. It's a lot of fun. Books are really good. And then I've got this new book, Secret Diary of a SoundCloud Rapper by Young Stepdad, which is my rapper name. Okay, I had to say something. People saying I wouldn't come up with that. Dude, you remember when dubstep was big?
Nope.
I changed like 2011. I changed my handle to HP Wubcraft, which I think is a fucking brilliant name. So me being Young Stepdad or Lil Stepdad or anything like that is not out of character. I just want to preface that. Anyway, so it's like the Iron Man monologue where he's like, I'm just not the hero type. Yeah. Anyway, Secret Diary of a SoundCloud Rapper, Young Stepdad. Get that shit. It's fucking weird and funny and a little bit depressed. And then I should have a new novel or two coming out this year and next, one of which I can't talk about, and the other one of which is called Rap Police, and it's going to be out through Broken River Books.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Michael, it's always a pleasure. Hopefully we'll do it again in less than 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And as always, you can find me at Matt_Slayer on Twitter, Matt Slayer on Instagram, Matt F. Slayer on Facebook, twitch.tv/Matt F. Slayer. You can find the fucking Patreon at patreon.com/Matt Slayer, where you can see the video version of this podcast. That's right. And you can find the podcast at And Now We Drink on Twitter, and Now We Drink _ on Instagram. And until next week, drink up, motherfuckers.
And you can add me based on whatever he links from this podcast. Ding.